When we went looking for fantasy flights, we found tricked-out planes that defy imagination, with built-in spas, even built-in babysitters.
You like Spider-Man? I do. Okay.
But one thing that was much harder to find was where they land, and for good reason.
Most people aren't familiar with a lot of the airports that these private jets have access to.
But we found one of these secretive landing strips here in southern Florida, and you'll be surprised at why it was built.
Our goal was really to own a 747 and fly a 747 out of the backyard, so we built the airstrip to be able to land and take off the 747 here.
Terri Jones Thayer isn't kidding. This former model owns some of the biggest, most expensive planes in the world, and she flies them. But Terri didn't want to fly solo, so she built the world's longest runway. It cost $6 million. Then she and her husband turned this former Vanderbilt estate into a private clubhouse. And now, one weekend every month, this happens.
The first Sunday of the month, we are open to the public, mostly fly-in traffic that come from as far as Miami or Atlanta. And it's sort of a big open house for people who might have an interest or just curious about Jumbolair to come visit, meet other pilots.
This weekend, over 35 pilots and their fantasy flights are buzzing in for eggs, bacon, and a tour of Jumbolair.
We bought the property originally as just a horse farm and an escape. It was just 80 acres. It was a Vanderbilt estate. It's in a nice, serene environment. It was really ideal for an aviation community.
But this isn't just any aviation community. This one's for millionaires and their fantasy flights. Terri's toy? Just a $20 million citation. Now there's the clubhouse. And then there's this. That garage isn't for a Lamborghini. Try Molly Nelson's pet plane.
I moved to Jumbolair because it was a nurturing place for my child, and then learned to fly so we could fly in here. And that was really the fun of it.
It's a new twist on gated communities. You can buy a home at Jumbolair right next to the runway. Just taxi up to your private driveway, push a button, and pull into your mansion.
Well, I think within 1 year we should have 60 homes, hopefully most of those people living in their homes. It's happening very, very fast.
There's never a doubt when this neighbor comes home, although Terri won't tell us who.
We have a resident here, I can't say his name, who has 2 aircraft, has a large 707 and a Gulfstream, and we often refer to that as the bigger plane as the family minivan, and the Gulfstream as the sports car.
We found someone was talking. Look closely at the tail of this 707, and you'll also know his initials, JT.
Yes, in fact, I know John Travolta is going to be our closest neighbor. I respect John's privacy, but at the same time, looking forward to meeting him someday.
It could happen. John and Rich having a neighborly chat about jet fuel and flight plans. A fly-in resort, mansions on the runway. This is a planned utopia for fantasy flyers with big bucks.
A mile of interstate will get you 1 mile, but a mile of runway can get you anywhere in the world. And that's what's so cool about flying.
Up next, so you're a billionaire and you want a jacuzzi on your flying palace. Who you gonna call?
The sky's the limit.